Welcome to Changing Suits. We're your hosts, Bal
and Taj, discussing the latest news, views, and general life for us Western Asians.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hi, welcome to Changing Suits. My name's Bal.
And my name's Taj.
Today we are on the cusp. Should I say that? On the cusp of 2022. And if you're listening to this after Saturday, then we are in 2022. So, yes, we wanted to talk about new beginnings. It's a new year, new beginnings, resolutions. What do you think about the new year and starting afresh, your whole life afresh? Leaving your family, starting a new life? No,
I don't think they meant that by fresh. But hey, it might be for some people.
Yes.
Well, with New Year's resolutions, I've been doing them for how many years now? Probably 30 odd years. I don't know how many of them I've completed, but this year is going to be different.
Oh, good. That's exactly what I was hoping.
Because this year I've learned that I'm going to start setting resolutions, not as at the end of the year I'm going to be a millionaire kind of sky high ones. I'm going to set them to be realistic. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to work out what would make me really happy and learn more about myself.
And what did you learn about yourself in 2021 that you are planning to explore further in 2022?
I've learned that the kind of things that I enjoy doing, and rather than doing what we're almost not peer pressure, what our parents expected us to do. For example, quite a lot of us done education and had done a degree in something that really didn't want to, but because we're typical South Asian Indians, do a business degree, do accounts degree, be a doctor, and that's all our parents knew. Those few different degrees.
To be fair, it has been 20 years since you finished your degree.
That's
so
true.
What's changed? What's different in this year's New Year's resolution than the last 20 years then?
I'm not going to keep trying to build on what I've done in the past. I'm going to do something new and something that I'll enjoy. And this year, I've realised I enjoy making people happy. And how am I going to do that and continue to do that? I want to support people and do it in my own way. And that's why we built FYI, helping women return back to work and women that are working and just supporting them in the challenges that they have. So I'm going to work towards that more and just dedicate more time towards it, because making and supporting people is what makes me happy.
Perfect. I think this year has been a tough one for everybody. Just like last year was, we were hoping that we'd get through and we wouldn't have to say this again. But it's an interesting one because this time last year, we were at a stage where we were thinking and we were saying, we've had time to reflect. We've realised what we were doing before doesn't make us happy. And this is a lot of people. And then we got into 2021 and we're like, okay, this is where the change is going to be. But we ended up getting into the same routine, right? And this is most people. You look at the traffic, and it's a perfect example. As soon as lockdown sort of calmed down and all that sort of stuff, the traffic went up sky high back to normal, right? Whereas during lockdown, it was a case of, oh my God, you could actually see the stars. That's how amazing it was. But then we got back into life. And do you not find that a bit of a metaphor for our lives? The fact that you could see the stars and all of a sudden you can't again.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I've never thought of it like that. And it's such a good metaphor, actually. But I've seen that even when for a majority of people, even if you've been to that near to death experience almost, a couple of years later, and there are individuals that will turn their life around and make the most out of their life. But a couple of years later, you'll just carry on where you were and you haven't really changed, because we have short memories.
Mm.
You remember for that time.
No, but this is something we've discussed in the past as well. Obviously, you've been through quite a lot where when we say near-death experience, you had hit that door at some point. And I remember going past, I was on the phone to you, and I was going past the hospital. So I was in central London and I was going past the hospital that you spent a lot of your youth in. And you're
My
moaning
second
about
home.
your second home at that point. But you're moaning about life, and you're, oh my word, I can't remember exactly what you were moaning about at that point. Uh, but it was funny because then I stopped you and I said, you know where I am? I'm just outside of this hospital. Do you remember a few years ago when you were at death's door and you were like, when life was pretty crappy?
Mm.
And then at that point, I actually remember this conversation. You were like, actually, that's a really good point because I've come through that. And and the point I'm trying to make is just to carry on from your point. We do have short memories, just like with COVID. You know, we've all said that we want to aim higher and enjoy life. We want a better life. But then we've got back into the same routine, the same slog of, ugh. I mean, everyone's got the fear of lockdown again in 2022. But then what changed? What changed from the first
I think
lockdown?
it takes a lot of courage to make that shift and make that change.
Mm.
Courage is in, right, I'm going to give up my job, I'm going to give up this, and I'm going to go, all right, probably can't do it, but traveling, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. So it takes a lot of courage to do that. We can have our lists. I remember when we used to sit exams and stuff like that, you were like, when I finish my exam,
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
going to do
remember that.
this, this,
Yeah.
this. When you finish your exam, or we finish our exam, we didn't do any of that list. And it's pretty much similar to that.
Mm.
You have all these lists of what you could do. It's like the grass is greener, like
Yeah.
they say, the grass is greener on the other side. And then when you go to the other side, it's pretty much what it used to be.
Well, then I have to say, if even if you were to take that step, and I have in the last few years taken some big steps in my life, in my career, where sometimes it's tough. You've taken the steps, you've gone through a very tough time, and it's still tough on the other side. So, was it actually greener on the other side? Well, to be fair, I'm glad I took the steps. Yes, is the answer. But that doesn't mean life's got easier.
But I think also one thing that we all fear is to fail. The fear of failure is the biggest thing that stops us from taking a new step or new direction. But I think sometimes what we've got to realize is that failure might create our next adventure or our next whatever it's meant to be, the next thing that opens up the door to us becoming superstars or something.
Well, do you know what? There is a saying actually that I've read on social media, as I usually pop out a saying that I can't remember. Same with
No,
this one,
hey,
but
nothing's changed.
nothing's changed in this podcast. But what it was saying was, people on their deathbeds don't regret the things that they did do; it's the things that they didn't do.
Yeah.
That is the actual saying, and I do actually agree with that, because looking back, where we've been through quite a lot of things, whether it's our own health, our family's health, or whatever, whether it's a death or whether it's the coronavirus pandemic, um, you do, it might cause a shift, but you have to be brave enough to take that shift and move it forward.
All right, okay. This might be interesting, Belle. So we're saying all this. So I've got an idea, Belle. Why don't we make a bucket list for the year and throughout this podcast, start ticking off the bucket list and seeing what we actually achieve? And in a way, we're kind of held to it because we've got our listeners that are listening if we've done that bucket list. And yeah, so we've almost got like an onlooker seeing if we completed those challenges. Are you up for that challenge, Belle?
Let's do it. I'm up for
All
it.
right, I'm up for it as well.
But this brings up a really good point. The whole concept of, and I always talk about coaching during this podcast, of why it's so important that you do have someone that does hold you to account. And this is exactly what it is, because we're not very good at holding ourselves to account. So getting a second person to do that, and now our listeners will be our coaches holding us to account. And so please do message us and find out where we are on our bucket list. So what's your plan? What are you thinking?
Right, okay. Now put me on the spot. So you're asking me where I want to be on my bucket list, or what I want on my bucket
All right,
list?
how many things do we need on our bucket list? So we have a minimum of things that we need to be holding
Should we
ourselves to
have it
account.
12, one per month?
All right, fine.
So we'll start off with that. We'll probably have to go away and think of something. I don't know if you've thought of something, and we can follow this up on our social media, which is Belle.
Changing_suits on Facebook and Instagram. We will put our 12 things up, and you can ask us whether we've achieved them throughout the year. That's a good idea. I like that. And I've got a few ideas already of what I'm planning to do.
Oh God, now I feel under pressure.
Especially under pressure.
I suggested it. I don't even know what I want for the 12 months. Okay, yeah, I like that idea. Let's stick to it and let's do it and let our listeners follow our journey.
So January is always the month that everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get onto the gym, I'm going to do the exercise, I'm going to be fit and healthy, all this sort of stuff, usual stuff. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm starting. I've already started my resolutions for this coming year anyway. So one of the things was I'm going to sort out my health. I'm vegetarian and all that sort of stuff. You're low in certain vitamins and minerals. So I've already started it. So how are you setting yourself up is the question, because the 1st of January is around the corner. Have you actually got yourself prepared for your first thing on your bucket list? And if you haven't, then when are you planning to do it?
Okay, my first thing on my bucket list is to start lifting weights and just tone my arms. And I've got the weights. They look very pretty in the room.
They always do, don't they?
They do. So throughout the 12 months, we'll see my progression.
I like that one. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think I'll copy you on that one.
I'm not going to wear the skinny leotard or anything like that.
But we can get
Does anyone wear leotards?
No, we're not in the old Madonna videos or whatever. whenever people did it. So we'll expect some social media, photos of your arms and your muscle arms, flexing arms. Yeah, that's fine. Right. That's a good one though. I like that.
But one thing I must say is one of the things that we end up doing is comparing ourselves to other people. And we see ourselves, oh, that person's doing this, I want to do what they're doing. I think that's a mistake that I found in myself is I start looking at what other people are doing and I'm thinking, I want to be there. But what I've realized this time, it's taken me 40 odd years to realize, is that you can never be someone else. Your journey has to be your own journey. And you can't be the best of, I don't know, this or that. You need to be the best at what your goals or what you're good at.
See, the thing is, I think it is important. The comparison, I don't think is a problem, because you're like, okay, that person is good at this and I want to aim for that. However, you don't realize how much work has gone into that person getting to where they are. You only see that end point of, oh my God, she or he has got 50,000 cars. But what did that person do to get there?
Mm.
How did that person have to sell their soul to the devil? But yeah, no, I do agree. I think the comparison's not a problem. It's just how you then interpret it and then take it in your own life. I mean, the problem with resolutions is obviously trying to create a habit is always the tough bit. Once you've created the habit, it's perfect. Habits and making sure that you do things consistently, that's where the tough thing is, because that again is the law of nature. I mean, your brain has to physiologically catch up with you. So what is it that you're trying to learn? If you keep on doing the same thing, you'll find it easier the more you do it, right?
I mean, one thing I must say with our parents, and especially our dad, he is always about progression and about learning a new thing, and that you have to keep up to date with whatever is happening, basically. And he's always pushed us to the point where we're kicking and screaming to learn new things. Yes. To the point of, oh my God, please, Dad, just stop it.
Yeah, but you appreciate it later. Yeah, I agree.
But you do appreciate it later. And I think that's, it helped because I think being in Asian family, your influence is quite a lot, comes from your parents and them being in your business all the time. And I don't think that's in a bad way.
Yeah.
That isn't in a bad way. At the time, it might seem like it is. Like, for example, waking up in the morning. I remember our dad used to wake us up. And it was early in the morning. I think it was 6 o'clock or something. And he used to make us all do yoga.
Yes.
And you're like, oh God, I just want to go to sleep. Utto, utto, wake up, wake up, wake up. And you're like, oh, for God's sake. And he literally dragged you out of bed and made you do the yoga, because he knew and he knows how important exercise is.
But the thing is, you have to hit a certain stage of your life to realize this. Now we're hitting that stage where we're like, actually, our knees are creaking, our elbows aren't moving as well as they used to do. So he had hit that stage and we hadn't realized what that meant. And the same thing now, right? For your inspiration, is a network created to help women return to work following long-term leave, or for women who are at work but are facing challenges.
At FYI, we are working to break down barriers such as mental health, discrimination, and gaps in skills, which prevent women from returning to a career that they are happy in.
Through our peer to peer support groups and workshops, we aim to create an environment where women can gain confidence, share their experiences, and build strong relationships to positively benefit the individual, their employers, and their communities.
FYI for your inspiration. One thing that Indian parents also say is ghee khao. It's really important to eat ghee, and that's so you don't get the creakiness in your body. And I don't know if this is an Indian thing or if our bodies just need ghee, but I've realized when I completely cut out ghee from my diet, or just butter, it doesn't have to be ghee, I do feel the impact.
But it's bad, isn't it? As you get older, you do. I know we keep complaining, but I'm just like sometimes I get up. I'm not. Literally, I was talking to one of my friends over the phone, and I was getting out of the car and hadn't realised I was doing this. But as I was coming out of the car, I made a sound like a groaning sound of sort of thing. And she sort of laughed. She's like, "Yes, I do actually do that quite a lot, and I don't realise." But it's just happened automatically. Where I need to give myself a good push just to get out of the bloody car. But anyway, so the point being, you do hit certain stages of your life. When you're younger, you don't realise how important these stages are. That you obviously need to exercise and keep yourself fit and all this sort of stuff. So, fine, you've got your January resolution, keep toning your arms. And do you remember those SMART goals when we used to do those at work and at school and all that sort of stuff? You need that though. With each of these goals, you need it to be smart.
Okay.
So you need it to be measurable. So I'm not trying to put any pressure on you, but what's your how big is your arm now? And what is your
Oh God,
that's how
that's
specific it needs
embarrassing,
to be,
isn't it?
right? No, but
Right,
that's
okay. So I'll do it on measuring of arms, and I'll do it on how many lifts I do. And I'm going to start off pretty low. I'm going to admit, because I want to do it so I build up to do it and not just give up.
yes.
And I'm not going to make the other goals that I'm going to set. I'm not going to make it so stringent where I'm like, on Monday I need to do this, on Tuesday I need to do this, because that will be off-putting. I'm going to be like, by this month I need to achieve this.
Fine.
So that's how I'm going to make it a bit more
And
successful.
you have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy doing this stuff, you're not going to be consistent in it. What are you going to do to enjoy this is the question.
Well, I remember when I had my son, I needed to get back into exercise, and I hadn't exercised anyway before my son. I never used to exercise that much at all. And I thought, right, I'm going to start learning how to do bhangra. So at the time I was in Norway, so I thought, okay, I don't think I'm going to find any classes here. Let me just put on YouTube clip
Some of those are
videos. So
really hard though. I've done the same
so
thing with the kids. They're so tough, some of them. Go on, carry on.
I'd done it. I was dying for weeks afterwards because it was, and you don't realize how much energy and how much strength it takes to do those moves.
Yeah, but it is quite enjoyable as well. And
It
this is the
looks
thing.
fun.
It looks fun. It looks easy when they do it. But what I was going to say was I used to do that with the kids. But then, okay, so how much did you enjoy doing that bungalow? Although it felt painful at a certain amount of time, did you enjoy it?
No, I did enjoy it, but it was too painful, and I was like, no, I can't carry on with this. I've got to look after the kids.
any, any excuse, isn't it? As you sat there eating chocolate. No, I'm joking. But then, see, this is the thing, isn't it? Well, it's a bit of a tough one. As you know, last year, was it the year before, I started exercising. I do it every day. I'm quite consistent, except this holiday. I have got a bit lazy this holiday. But I've got to the point where I made it a habit. I increased the times I was doing it. I was increasing the amount of weight I was doing, which was great. I do fall off sometimes, and then you have to build it up again. But I am getting to a point where I'm enjoying exercising, and I never used to be like that. And I've realized the benefits of it as well, not only obviously physically, but for my stress levels. I'm feeling mentally better as well. So you have to find the thing that you're enjoying. And I think I've said this before. I started off on yoga because I didn't enjoy exercising. Then I got to the next stage where I was like, okay, I need to do something that's more physically asserting myself. and then it's gone from there. But it's, like I said, it's become a habit, and I've had to enjoy it. So the next part, like I've said before, is I need to sort out my vitamins and things. This is something I'm definitely doing from January. I've ordered the stuff. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on it with it. And then next thing is diet. Career wise, obviously, this is part of my bucket list. I'm going to be writing this. It's a very interesting challenge you've just set. So
Mm.
let's do this. And
Yeah,
also,
let's
it's
do
not
that.
just about career and exercise. What do you enjoy? We say it every time. You've got to enjoy yourself, right? Whatever you're doing. So your hobbies. What are your hobbies? One thing I always find that's interesting is, especially women, we don't tend to realize what our hobbies are, because it tends to be, after work, you're looking after the kids, and that takes up the rest of your evening. And then by the evening, I'm tired, so I'm sitting down on the sofa. But what are you doing to actually enjoy yourself outside of family life? Because at some point, our kids are going to grow up. They're growing very quick now. They're going to be doing, the other day, so the day before yesterday, sorry, I was downstairs. Suk was doing his own thing because he's got hobbies, which is fantastic. And I'd never stop him from doing it, even if it is a bit of pain and a bit expensive. But I wouldn't stop him because he's got his thing. But the kids were upstairs playing, and I'm downstairs. So I came up and I'm like, "Oh, when are you coming down?" And they're like, "Oh no, we're having fun playing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was,
What am I meant to do? Yeah.
yeah, I went back down. I was like, "Oh, okay, got nothing to do." And it suddenly hit me where I'm like, it's not long before they will be spending a lot more time away from me. And I need to be doing something that I am enjoying without anyone else. And I do have certain things that I enjoy doing. I just need to progress a bit more in them. So that's the other thing you need to, all of us should be looking at.
I think that is so true. But going back to kids, I realised, which was a bit of an embarrassing thing to admit, is my kids don't know how to speak Punjabi. So
Oh,
we were
yes.
watching a film to the point I was translating every single line.
Oh, it's bad, isn't it? I mean,
And I
exactly the
thought
same.
that is so bad.
That is bad. I've got a friend who's got two kids, and she'll be listening to this, and she'll know that I'm talking about her. But basically, with your first child, you're like, yes, they're going to be eating organic gold. They're going to be the healthiest, the wealthiest, the da 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 da. And then by your second child, you're like, okay, whatever, just get on with it, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't care if they're eating, full stop. No, joking. But basically, this was one thing. We were on it with the Punjabi when they were younger, but now they're not. But anyway, this friend of mine, she's got her second child, and her kids, both of them, still speak Punjabi. I'm like, ugh, that is good parenting, people. That is consistency. Well done. But again, it comes down to that comparison of what you said before. Should we be doing that comparison? But I don't think it's a negative thing doing
Well,
that
on
comparison.
that thing, I think we should, because it's come to the point of where the grandparents are speaking to the kids and they're like, huh? And you're like, this is bad.
This is bad. I agree.
I mean, the grandparents, they can speak English. That isn't the issue.
Yeah.
But you feel comfortable in the language that you do speak in. And that's what's happened to us. We feel comfortable speaking English. But that has meant that the kids aren't learning their language that they should be learning. So, yeah. And it was painful translating every single line. Because I've seen, even when there's any English words, and sometimes there's some words, you know them, but you don't know quite how to explain. So I was like, oh God.
What, like tomato? What is tomato in Punjabi?
Yeah.
Like that.
I know, actually, the one that you should be talking about is
Towel.
towel, which is
Yes.
towel. I did think that in Punjabi that towel was a translation, which we later learned out that it isn't.
Yes. And the reason we knew that is because when I first got married, I said that to my husband. He's like, "What's towel?" I was like, "Duh, it's a towel." He's like, "You do realize you're just saying towel, but in a Punjabi accent." And I was like, "Oh my God, Mum has been lying to us all our lives." She hasn't got a clue about Punjabi herself, and she's from Punjab. So we ain't got no hope, let alone our kids. But yeah, that was quite a funny one. So I do sometimes come across some words where I then look at my husband and I'm like, is that the right word in Punjabi? He's like, yes, that's right. Or
I
no.
remember when I first got married, and I was just putting my husband and my brother-in-law down because they don't speak that much Punjabi, and there was a toy. Oh no, it would have been later on. Would have had a kid by then, but
Yes.
there was a toy because, as I said, we wouldn't have just randomly kept toys, and there was a little monkey on the floor, and they go, "All right, say it in Punjabi," and I go, "Monkey," and they're like, "That is not how you say monkey."
Wait, now I'm trying to think. What is monkey in Punjabi? What is it?
I can't remember.
Oh man, now that's
I
going to
don't
be
remember.
bugging me. It is a.
But if anyone can tell us, it'd be good if you comment in our social media what the word monkey is meant to be
Hey Siri,
in.
what's monkey in Punjabi?
I can't translate into Punjabi yet.
Oh, Siri does not know Punjabi. There we are. So it's not only our kids. Siri also does not know Punjabi.
That's all right then.
That's all right.
If Siri
Okay.
don't know,
So
no
how
one
are we?
knows.
So how are we relating this to New Year's? What are you planning to do?
So I'm going to start teaching the kids Punjabi. We've done it for a couple of days where I spoke to them, and now I've forgotten again to speak
But
to
this
them.
is the
But I
thing.
need
It's,
to keep it up.
again, it's the habit, isn't it? We've gone through the
Yeah.
same thing where once we get into the habit and speak between ourselves, then the kids will do it. And they don't mind doing it once everyone's doing it. But then we get back into that habit of speaking English again. So, yeah, we've got the same problem. This is why we're sisters. We have the same problem. Sister, sister.
So that should be maybe number March.
Maybe number March. Yes, maybe
Number March.
number March.
Where
Yes.
we get the kids to tell us a whole paragraph in Punjabi about
Well, they'll know
something.
what it is because they'll be learning that in Punjabi school where they won't actually know anything else. So at the start of my son starting Punjabi school, they had the usual line of, "What is your name?" So they'd say it in Punjabi, "Mera naam," whatever, Singh hai, or whatever it is. So we call him Dayal Singh anyway. So he actually said, "Mera naam Dayal Singh Singh hai." I'm like, no, that's not right. This is how bad your Punjabi is, where you don't realise what you're supposed to be saying. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I do agree. Let's figure this out on how we're going to do this on the bucket list. Fair enough.
Right, okay. So what is our New Year's resolution for our podcast? What have we got coming up?
So we have an exciting few months, actually. We've got a number of guest speakers that are lined up in the new year, which is fantastic. Firstly, let's say thank you to the guest speakers we've had in 2021. The podcast has been very new and we've been getting such great feedback, and it's been a pleasure to have people on the podcast as well. So we had Pav, who was a lead within the public sector, who was absolutely inspiring. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that podcast, please do go back to listen to Dream Big, Achieve Bigger, where she went through her career and how she achieved success, as well as how she's done the work-life balance, which is really important to a number of our listeners here. And then we had Dat Mum, who recorded Dat Mum's the Word, who also looked at work-life balance, mental health issues in that episode, raising awareness of certain health conditions that we might not have known about, and about being an influencer. So thank you to those guest speakers. In 2022, we are looking forward to talking to a number of therapists. We've got charities that will be joining us in 2022, talking about their charities and what they've achieved and what they're looking to achieve in the coming year. So stay tuned because we've got some fantastic speakers, which we're really looking forward to as well. So bring on 2022. We are planning to explode with this podcast. So keep up to date with our podcasts and also pass it on to your friends. Let them listen to it. Please do give us your feedback as to what you want us to talk about. And if you've got something that you want to share with our listeners, let us know. More than happy to listen. So bring on 2022, without COVID preferably, and make your bucket list. And we'll be putting our bucket list up on our Instagram, changing_suits on Facebook and Instagram. So we'll keep you updated and you keep us updated as to how your resolutions are going and whether you've broken them or kept them. So enjoy your 2022 celebrations and have a lovely new year from Changing Suits. Thanks for listening. My name's Bal.
And my name's Taj.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Changing _soups and subscribe so you never miss an episode.